Hey, Junior.
Okay, I am ready, Pat. Ready to
Okay.
go.
Okay. I'd like to call to order the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting of July 27th, 2021, 7 PM. This is a web-based meeting. First on our agenda is our business meeting minutes of 7/13/21. I want to seat Rob Stoll for Penny and Rob Wallace for Rich Tibbetts. If someone would like to make a motion regarding the meeting minutes,
I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes of July 12th.
13th, John,
What is it? I'm sorry.
July 13th.
Thank you.
Second.
Is our secretary not here tonight, Nancy?
No, she isn't. Maria's,
You're looking at him.
All right.
Oh.
Maria's up in the hospital
right.
having her baby.
That's why he's
Oh.
dressed up.
Oh, nice.
All right. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Next on our agenda is procedural discussion on future meetings. And Beth was kind enough to send information out to us to take a look at.
Yep.
Beth, did you want to talk to this?
Yes, that was, I'm just seeing if I'm sharing my screen right. I guess I'm not, huh, David?
Oh, you got it now.
No, you got it.
Coming.
It's coming up, Beth.
Oh, I've got to get a new computer. This thing is killing me. Okay, so Matt sent us a department memo in regards to meetings for the coming year, the rest of the year. I wanted to discuss that a little bit with you in regards to rules. One thing that I do want to mention is that you guys have already decided that you would be interested in looking at your first meeting in September to be your first meeting where you would possibly meet in person. Am I correct?
Yes,
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
positively.
I think that for the time being that we should follow that scenario, if you all agree with me.
Right.
Agreed. Yep.
The one thing that we are trying to clear up is meeting room D and the air quality in there. And again, for example, today the CDC is talking about starting to wear masks again. I mean, you know, it's starting up very slowly as far as everything's a recommendation. I will tell you though, that if in the town hall, if you are not vaccinated, it is requested that you wear a mask.
Right.
So right now we're not wearing masks, but if you are not vaccinated, you should wear a mask. There's also the option of doing hybrid meetings. So we can do some on the Chuck. My husband's sleeping and his phone is ringing. Sorry. Anyways, we could do a form of a hybrid meeting where we can do some Zoom and do an in-person meeting too. So these are just there are three options that we can do all together. If we're not comfortable using meeting room G, then my suggestion is going to be we'll probably use either the GP room or the senior center in the basement.
Does the GP room have the capability for hybrid?
Yes, they both
Oh.
do. They
Good.
both do. So we should be okay.
Great.
All right,
Nice.
but we have
Nice.
one more meeting left in August. And that's our August meeting, and we'll do that using Zoom unless otherwise told. But I think that you guys have a good path that we'll try our best to follow. Did anybody have any questions?
I have a question about under the hybrid meeting number 5. Where are these videos, these recordings stored?
The town of Bethel has a YouTube channel, and they are
Ah.
stored there.
Okay,
And they're also in our drive. He has a special drive that he puts them in.
I have a question. Number 3. It didn't make sense to me. Upon request, any member of the public the town must provide a means to allow people to participate who don't have a computer at home. We allow anybody who wants to come in to our room, whichever room we're working in, and to observe that meeting. So I don't understand the note.
There's one note in here. I'm sorry, Kitty,
It's down, it's after number 9.
number 9.
It's after number 9. There's a note following number 9.
Oh, she's under remote only
Under
meetings.
notes, yes,
Right.
that is, that's an interesting note. I haven't had the opportunity to address that with the first selectman yet.
Oh, okay.
Because my opinion is that if it's not so much of, if we were to do this, that means that one of us I would have to go to town hall and sit with the public member or give them access to one of my computers.
Oh, so this is referring to only if we're doing a Zoom meeting.
Right, and if
Oh, gotcha,
somebody
okay.
doesn't have a computer and they want to participate,
Right.
there's a couple of different
Okay,
ways they
thank
can
you.
participate, okay? And
I
I
understand
disagree
that.
with this. One is we can make a computer accessible, where they can take the computer home with them, like a library piece, and watch the meeting from their home. Or number 2, the library has many computers that are available to the public.
Okay,
And I think the library should be open in this type of instance where if something like this should occur.
okay.
But I would have to tell you, over 2 years, I've never had an issue with a Zoom meeting and someone not being capable of participating.
Thank you. Now it makes sense. Thank you.
As long as there's a plan.
I guess I probably have a couple of statements. So Beth, you talked about the CDC today. The CDC is actually driving me absolutely crazy because they flip-flop all the time and it's become
Yes, they are.
political, and we're not going to do that right now. But what their recommendations are right now are in the hot spots. Right now, it's California, a little bit of Texas, and a couple of little states out west. I hope we never get there. But that being said, I think we really, other boards and commissions are meeting in town hall. I think that we should right now make every reasonable effort to make it safe for the public, meaning let's just say we need the GP room now, and we are meeting September 9th or whatever that day is, and we need to move forward because it is what it is. And I personally struggle with having meetings like this because you don't see body language. You can't look across the table and get a real feel on what's happening. So I think we should make every effort for all of Bethel to get into a room and go back to normal.
I totally agree, John.
Thank you. Okay, is there any other comments on the
Hearing on
first
the
meeting?
10th. But that's gonna be Zoom, right?
August 10th
Oh,
is
yes,
Zoom.
right.
Okay.
Okay. So can we talk a little bit about the state regs? I'm going to jump around a little bit.
Yeah.
Which one?
Okay. First of all, the first one is I'm going to talk about is the marijuana opinion that we have
Okay.
in relation to our regulations as they presently stand. The most important thing to remember about that is that our regulations stand as they are. We, as a commission, you do not have to look at your regulations to update them at this point.
Mhm.
Someone could come in after the law is adopted. I think the retail portion is allowable as of next year. In fact, let me go back to, this isn't working, David.
It started thinking, it tried to click on it.
All right, well, I'll just let that go for now. I'll bring accessories after, see if I can bring them.
Somebody just joined the meeting. I think we should introduce them to the commission.
I can't say,
John's
It's
making a
Rich-
joke.
No, actually, I've never seen the beard before, but it's Richie Tibbetts.
Hey,
Hey, Rich.
lacrosse season's over. Come on.
Well, there you go. Welcome home.
all right, but anyways, marijuana regulations stand. If someone could come in and petition the commission for a text amendment to either allow for grow, allow for anything pertaining to marijuana, but that would be from the outside, unless the commission is of the opinion that you want to explore that regulation. and open it up and for the possible discussion of retail sales of marijuana or eliminating, our regulations, which basically would make us what I call a dry town. So hearing no one interested in pursuing that part of any type of discussion dealing with marijuana, I would move on to the next item.
So there,
But just to be clear, the way our current regulation states, we're good to go, Beth. Somebody would have to come in and try to do a text amendment to change our current regulation on the books to allow recreational marijuana, correct?
Correct.
And Chuck, and that whole thing
Chuck is
Chuck had
comfortable.
is he feels really comfortable that our regulation in Bethel is good to go.
Correct.
but I am sorry, I'm going through the pages right now and I'm trying to read and listen. But there was one place in here where he said something about where the regulations we've already done, that we should reiterate at a meeting that this is what we've done and this is what we stand by.
Well, that's what Beth was asking. If everybody's in agreement with the current regulation talks about, then we're good to go. We don't even have to go any further.
Yeah, there's
Right.
nothing else we have.
Yeah.
to
That's
Oh, I was
correct.
just following what Chuck said there, okay.
No,
can't
Chuck-
find it.
Chuck-
Right.
that was just a option he put in there if you wanted to, but at this point,
I don't think it's necessary.
we note
Yeah.
for the record that the Planning and Zoning Commission is comfortable or
Well, I am, no.
with our regulations as they stand. We'll note that Chuck's opinion for the record also, and just put it in there that you have no interest in pursuing any changes to the current regulations
Excellent.
pertaining to marijuana.
And thank him for this. He made this all very clear and understandable.
Yeah, well, we worked on it. It was difficult because, you
Oh, I
have,
can't imagine.
it's very involved. Because, I mean, again, that marijuana regulation, that public act is almost 300 pages long.
Right.
So Beth, can I, staying on that subject, so this weekend I was at an event and somebody told me their son works at the marijuana store in Naugatuck. I thought that this whole recreational thing wasn't yet. Is that correct? In the
That's
statewide?
correct.
Okay,
Next
so
year.
they're just ramping up in Naugatuck for what's about to happen. Is that right?
Right.
Got it.
It won't be allowed till next year, but everybody, a lot of the zoning commissions are reviewing their regulations now in preparation for retail sales next year.
Got it.
Okay,
Okay?
perfect.
Cool.
John,
right.
John, are you sure it's not, he works in one of the,
A medical one,
marijuana?
I'm sorry, Bobby?
He might work in one of the medical marijuana stores.
right.
No, I asked them because they really, because I assumed the kid was using, you know what I mean? So that's kind of where my conversation was going, and that's what they led me to think, so.
There you go.
Moving on.
Not that
Sorry,
there's
guys.
Anything wrong with that?
I always talk the truth,
Oh, gee.
Okay, Jim.
Okay, moving on to accessory dwelling units. I tried to present the state portion and then the bold is our regulations. In summary pertaining to these regulations, I am waiting from the building department to give me, they say if we don't, we have to follow the building codes as far as size, if you're gonna put a restriction on it as to a minimum. A lot of the state statute deals with minimum sizes.
Mhm.
Our regulations aren't really off on that at all. Our regulations are very similar to the state's regulations, except in two areas. We require 30%. I believe the state statute says 25%.
Oh, okay.
We also, the one thing that I think is something that is important to all of you is that we want the accessory unit attached to the home, whereas this state statute does not have that restriction on it. The state statute says it can be in a separate building. It goes
Where
along
does it
with the
say that,
premise.
Beth? I look for that. Where does it say that?
Let's say, ADUs are not, let's,
I didn't
It's-
see
It's
that.
like the 3, 6, 7th one down, maybe?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Regulations shall not
That's
require.
about it.
They talked about an exterior door, be connect, there you go.
Connected, yeah.
Richie, nice comeback. Good to
Hey.
see you.
Come on, baby.
I'm glad you caught that. It took me too long to read here.
Yeah, great. Okay, good. I missed that because it was buried in there a little
Yes.
bit. I was actually surprised that I didn't see it in there, because I missed it on that bullet. Yeah.
According to this, the state doesn't require you to be a relative or anything?
Right. That's the
Yeah,
biggest
I
part.
was shocked at that
Right.
one, yes.
Yeah, that's
And it's,
kind of
And
surprising.
you can rent it.
it is a pure rental unit and it does not
Right.
need to be restricted under 830G. In
Huh.
other words, what this is doing is saying you can have 2 dwelling units on 1 lot.
So long as
Oh.
your lot size and zone supports it.
Correct. And it does not require that the owner, they're not restricted to homeowners or relatives of occupants of the
Yeah.
primary structure.
Right.
it
that
becomes
says
a rental
nothing about
property.
that.
So it could be a rental unit.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let me ask you something, Beth. Does that, geez, I feel like that's like a can of worms and a half.
Yes.
Oh man, I have like 10 questions. Hang on. I'll come back. Come back to me.
So everybody that puts one of these in then basically has turned their house into a two-family house.
Well, yes, they've either
You're
turned
right,
their
Bob.
house into a 2-family home, or they've turned their lot into 2 homes on 1
Two
lot.
homes on one lot.
Are there any requirements for frontage or
Yeah.
driveway space?
Yeah, it has to fit all regular, if you're an R40, you have to fit all setbacks, in that zone.
Yes, correct.
Unless it's an 830G.
Right.
Wow,
Jeez.
that's,
Well, but the good news is, Beth, and I've been chewing on this, we could either opt in or opt out and hang on our own regulations. And I think our regulations are more inviting to affordable housing because it's part of we mandate that unit is considered affordable.
right.
Not only,
Yep.
not only that, but you have tweaked your regulations over the years,
Mhm.
this went into effect, I think, in the 90s or so. And you've made adjustments as time is going on. If you remember, you recently
Yeah.
removed the requirement for a public hearing.
Right.
Mhm.
Well,
We're
and
doing
it-
things administratively now to make it easier for
Yeah.
property owners.
And that was in response to, a change in the dynamic of kind of the environment where parents, kids are moving back in their parents or vice versa, things like that.
right.
I feel like this is almost a response to like the Airbnb era of like, let's let people buy a barn for 13 grand at the place on Stony Hill Road and chuck it in their backyard, start renting it out.
Well,
Well,
that's
but
basically-
Richie,
Yeah.
but we really felt like, the character of Bethel was family related.
Yeah.
It was to help out the family dynamics, right? Was it gonna be mom was moving back in because she
Yeah.
has health issues or a kid coming from school?
Yep.
And that's why we were okay with marking it as affordable because
Mhm.
if it was gonna be family, it was gonna be
Right.
below market rate anyway, right?
Yeah.
So,
But with
it all worked, except, I don't think we've ever denied an accessory apartment, but more importantly, we always thought they were wonderful when they were connected to the main dwelling.
Right.
This allows you to really almost invite a rental unit,
Sure.
like I think
Mhm.
they wrote it for,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
And I will say that for the most part, whenever we've had problems with accessory units, it was from before when we allowed them to be in separate structures.
And a
they
separate
tr-
structure actually makes it probably more costly and more prohibitive building.
Oh, yeah, exactly, sure. But the expense would be huge.
But see, the whole thing, the whole premise with the accessory dwelling units being attached to the house,
That
It-
was family.
it can be converted back to a single-family
home.
resident.
Right, right.
Whereas
Right.
if you do it out in the, an accessory building, then we get involved with
It can be
having
anything.
them tear out kitchens and how much do they have to tear out? And, well, it's not really a kitchen, it's
Right.
my pool room and it's numerous issues
Right.
with that.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Beth, we do have the option to opt out of this.
Yes, you do. And there's a process for that.
It said it goes under,
Um,
has to go to a public hearing.
It has to go to a public hearing, and advertised, and it has to be 2/3 of the board. that's in agreement to opt out. And then it goes to the Board of Selectmen.
So they could override our decision.
That's questionable. We don't know that yet. That's still
Okay.
under discussion, but they could if they wanted to.
Okay,
But I doubt very much that whatever you guys decide that they will, go against it.
You have to give reasons and justification for opting out, or?
Yes, you do.
Mhm.
How about the
And-
first one? We want all of our accessory apartments in the town of Bethel to be affordable. This new state statute doesn't say that. They don't have to be
Yeah.
affordable. So I think actually we're in the spirit of, we want Bethel to maintain their affordability. And this is part of this is one of the tools in the toolbox.
Right.
How could anybody argue with our, considering we want to opt out?
And considering
Yep.
our accessory apartments go with family,
Right.
not just,
And part
not
of
just
that,
renters,
right. And the reason why dad made an accessory apartment is they're trying to make it affordable for their kid.
right?
right.
And there's other statistics and information that we would throw in there. If you choose, if you choose to opt out, well, I would go into looking when we can do a public hearing, put together a report as to why you are opting out
Okay.
based on your, the units that you have, how many are statistics here in town, and
Right.
use that as the examples. That we already got the ADU. Thank you very much, State of Connecticut. But we already have it. We've nailed it. We've refined it. It works.
No,
This is really for those towns that are really giving people a hard time for accessory apartments.
Why do you think, Beth, that they didn't make part of this, that it had to be affordable, considered affordable?
I don't know. I listened to I participated in a lot of the public hearings. And they just felt that it was like an overall trying to do something good for everyone.
Huh.
Not just for people in need
not just the affordable,
or family members.
right?
But they were coming from that Diversified Connecticut.
Right.
So I just don't understand why
They would
that
give up
wasn't
the
incorporated
affordability.
into this.
No,
I think
Yeah.
the first step is to get all the towns to allow accessory apartments. I think that's the bottom line.
right.
Back up the train a minute here. If you have a single family house and you come in and say, I want to put another unit either attached to the house or next to my house, and I'm doing it under 830G, whether we opt out or not, they're going to be able to do it.
If they do a 830G application, yes.
Right, they have to do the whole application, Bob. And then
Right.
they have to have that, and Beth, you could help me, you have to apply every year to confirm that that unit is affordable, right? By the person that's
No,
in
no,
it.
no. What they
No,
do
it
is,
doesn't say that.
no, under 830G, that unit will only be administered by our housing administrator that will qualify whoever is gonna go live in there.
Yeah, but that's
Oh, I know, but don't you have to requalify every year?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I mean, Bob. So to go through the affordable side of it, you have to do, and it costs money every year to
Oh, yeah.
verify that person. Right,
Yeah.
right. Yep.
Okay.
that's a lousy investment. I mean, like, that's why you don't see people building one 830G unit, right? You see them building
I
8.
think you're right.
Right, it's gotta be a percentage, right?
Yeah, yeah.
There was mosquitoes outside, guys. I had to move inside.
I thought that was one of those fake backgrounds. That's pretty.
It looked good, right? The color was
Nice.
good, Richie, right? I did that for
Very
you. I knew you were coming. I figured you could take that beard off any second.
Yeah, like a Harry, like the guy with the magnet.
Yeah,
all right, so anything else with the accessory?
no, I think we covered that pretty much.
Anybody?
So the consensus was that the commission thinks we should opt out of that and stay with our, right? Yeah, cool.
Right.
Yeah, with the reasoning you described, John.
Okay, don't worry, we'll come up with the reasoning because that's an important part of it too.
Right.
Okay, all right, let's move on to parking.
Yes,
Now, parking, basically what the state wants to do is 1 space per studio or 1 bedroom unit and 2 spaces for larger housing units. unless we opt out. And what I did was I sent you two sections of the parking regs. One is strictly for residential uses, multifamilies, things of that nature. And then we did revise our parking regulations for the TOD zone only for the mixed use.
Right.
So Beth, when you say only the TOD for only the mixed use, so if it's strictly a residential unit like the Glen, I'm the Grand, what is the ratio for no mixed, just residential per unit, one bedroom? It's 1.5,
well,
right?
Multifamily development, I
It's
assume.
2 per unit.
It's a multifamily development, right?
Yeah, 2 per unit.
Even in the TOD, because I thought we brought that down, Beth, to 1.5, because
No,
everybody talked, yeah, go ahead.
What the property itself, I correct myself, it's a mix. It's in the TOD zone. Remember, it's a mixed use property. You have parking, you have the
Shopping center.
shopping
center.
center there. And so
But
you
isn't it
use the
mixed use?
TOD parking regs for that based on that premise.
Okay, that's,
Okay.
you're saying that's where I got the 1.5.
Yes,
1.5, right?
Because I thought when somebody would come in with an affordable and they were proposing one per one bedroom unit, and they were always saying one, I'm sorry, I said that already. I always assumed I was thinking that they were off a half a parking spot, so 2 units, we lost a spot. But you're saying that we were off by double. They were, if
Yeah.
somebody came in with an affordable, they were
They
were
make
only-
up
they
their
were
own.
cutting our parking in half.
when they come in with affordables, they make up their own parking.
I got it. No, I know, but I didn't know it was that far off. So they
Yeah.
were, if somebody put 11 units in and gave us 11 spots, they actually only gave us 50% of what our current regulations in a freestanding app. Got it.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay, that being said, the proposed legislation is what, Beth? It's 1 for a
One
studio
space.
and 1 bedroom. And then when you get to 2, it's what?
2 spaces for larger housing units.
2 spaces. What do you mean?
That's it.
Just 2 regardless of,
That's
okay,
what they said. Yeah.
okay.
So a
that leaves it
4-bedroom
wide
unit,
open.
right?
Yeah, that
Yes.
leaves it wide open. I personally think, I know it's either all or none. I think, I don't know, we talk about bike racks and we're gonna give you a free parking spot because you put a bike rack for David out there. I think a one bedroom having 2 parking spots is a lot of impervious surface, but that's our current regulation. So,
No,
so I think I'm somewhere in the middle, but it's all or none.
with a 1-bedroom, you could have a couple and they could each have cars. So, they may not, but it's very possible.
You have to learn to
Remember, you have to differentiate between the TOD downtown
Right.
and other areas of the town.
Right, well, TOD, yes, absolutely.
So you're talking about the couple,
And, well, let's say, Route 6 or anywhere else. Or not, or beyond the TOD in the village district.
Well, if there was multifamily in there, right? But Beth, again, I'm sorry, they proposed 1 for a studio and a 1 bedroom, and when you get to 2 and 3 bedroom, they were saying 2.
right?
Got it. Okay, and that was it. So for that reason, I would opt out because I think that you're underestimating the parking lot when
Yeah.
you get over a 1 bedroom.
I think I agree.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would stick by our regulations.
So Beth, we're gonna add these things that we're opting out to a future meeting then?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
And if you give me an idea of how if you want to opt out, I can develop the reasons why you want to opt out
Okay.
outside of what you're stating here this evening. Put it more in zoning terms.
And Pat, that was just my opinion. I don't know what the rest of the commission
Oh.
thinks.
Thank you, John. Commission members?
Yeah,
Please.
any comments from commission members?
No, I
Yeah.
agree with what John said. I think the regulations that we have now suit
Yeah.
our area. I really do.
Mhm.
Rich?
No, same. I agree with what John was saying. Sorry.
Can you turn that down a little bit? I'm having trouble.
I was wondering who was watching TV.
You could hear that, right?
Yeah.
Well, just a little bit.
It was so loud.
What
It was not.
time is 7:30? What are we watching? Jeopardy or Wheel of Fortune?
That's it. You can hear the digging. I can hear the digging from upstairs.
7:30 Wheel of
No,
Fortune.
he's watching Car Week.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, there you go.
That's reasonable.
All right, so we want to look in the future of possibly opting out of this?
Yes,
That'd be good.
Okay. Moving on to outdoor dining.
I'm done.
Okay, outdoor dining, basically, the state is saying, they're gonna extend it to next year, which we've already extended.
Yeah.
Yep.
It worked out really well for us. They're saying that, under the bill that, food establishments have to get a site plan approval, but it's done in-house, meaning administratively.
Mhm.
And that lets food establishments stay open till 9 PM. Anyway, so during COVID, we took it upon ourselves. You gave the zoning department permission to issue outdoor dining permits administratively. No one had to go to the commission. I reviewed a few of them with you, I think.
Yeah.
But it worked really very, very well. The one thing that I would tell you is the difference between our regulations and the state is that under your regulations, you require a public hearing and a special permit for outdoor dining permits. Okay, that's the normal process. So my question to all of you is, would you be interested in eliminating the public hearing portion requirement of the zoning regulations? That because next year, what will have to happen is everyone that has outdoor dining permits
Have to come
will have
back.
to come in
We'll be
for.
back.
Yeah,
public
and that's an
hearing.
expense. That's a huge expense.
Now, the only time that I would take exception to that would be, for instance, if a restaurant is located, I would say, for example, the Note is a good example. All right, down on Greenwood Avenue. The Note, it's adjacent to a residential area, residential zone, and they wanted to do an outdoor dining permit. And I think that when you're adjacent to a close residential zone, I may want to deflect and turn it over to you. Request a hearing so you can hash out the hours and things of that nature.
Well, we had people come in for the Note, as I recall, because they were worried about music and noise. And
That's
I think the hearing went very well. And they adjusted to those demands.
Well, we've had a few
Yes, right.
things, but I mean, at
Bad
least,
moments.
but see, again, when we're dealing with that, I have the opportunity to fall back on your
Exactly.
well, the commission said this, the commission said that, so that is helpful. But I think that there may be a few instances where we may want them to be reviewed by the commission. So again, I think if you give us that, give me that option, I think, we can weed out any problems and just have the board and staff and the general public work on it and figure it out.
That's a good point, Beth.
Excellent.
But
I mean,
Beth, can
I
I-
think it's been a boom for town. It works out very well.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see it continue.
Whatever
I'd
we can
like
do
to
to make
see
it
the
easy.
process made a bit easier. The expense of a public hearing,
Yeah.
I would like to see it on a much lower level.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Beth, can I just, so the Note maybe was a bad example only because that was a special permit and we approved that patio eating area. So did what you guys did because I was not on the commission. Was that better than the deal we gave them during a special permit process? You know what I mean? Did they have other things they could do because of the COVID, or
No.
they already
no,
had the patio in place? So
Correct.
that was a bad
They
example,
did.
right?
Yeah, I that's what I thought, is that they could do that.
It was
anyway.
already there.
But so.
No, but
you mean- yeah.
what I was trying to point out to you guys as the commission, there was a lot of interchange and interaction between the residential neighborhood located
Yeah.
behind the note
Oh, yeah,
and the note
was.
itself.
I remember that.
That's what I was trying to bring to your attention.
Right.
That there may be certain instances when a proposed restaurant open patio or something, maybe
Right.
directly adjacent to a single-family residential zone.
Exactly. No, that's a good
Do you
point.
want give the residents, the neighbors, an opportunity to come in and ask their questions and try to resolve fears?
Yeah. Like the
Only
main part of
really-
Greenwood, you're fine.
Only related to COVID, right? That's,
No.
that's the
Oh,
catalyst.
it's just going forward.
No, just moving forward,
Oh,
period.
okay,
Ken.
so I'm confused, yeah.
DJ has her hand up in the least surprising news of the night.
Oh, it's your call. You're the chair.
Yeah, no, she can ask her question. Because she was so close to what was going
Oh,
on.
God,
And-
yes.
That's why I brought it up, yeah.
Well, except you're letting public comment in during the regular meeting, but I'm okay
Yeah.
with it too. Go ahead.
I'm okay with that.
So my
liquor.
question would be, if they have a liquor permit that says no amplified music, how does that work with your letting them have the outdoor seating when they're amplifying music?
Well, the liquor permit is issued by the state of Connecticut, isn't it?
Right, yes,
It's not issued by the town of Bethel.
I know, but if you're allowing them to amplify music, but their liquor permit says no amplified music, who wins?
I don't know who does the enforcement.
State.
Interesting.
Because I'm going to
That
tell
would
you,
have to be enforced, I think, through the state. The amplified music.
so would,
Go ahead, BJ.
I got to, they play their music on weekends during the afternoons.
Mhm.
And from my house, all you can hear often is like the backbeat, the thump, 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 thump.
Yeah, you hear the bass.
Bass.
And it's not late at night. But it's just, sometimes you say to yourself, their permit said no amplified music, and they're doing it. And it just doesn't seem appropriate.
Oh, that's a slippery slope. I could buy a house next door to you and do the same thing, and
Yep.
serve drinks in my backyard, right?
Oh.
So it's a tricky one, I think, and it's two different enforcement policies. I'm just hoping that they continue to shift their live entertainment to Notch, which it feels like they are for the most part, but
But
Okay.
Notch has residents too.
oh,
But it's
they're
in a
downtown.
different-
Too bad.
It's in a different zone,
Yeah.
even though there's residential units behind there and such. It is a different residential zone, BJ.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's still in the commercial area. Okay, so I guess what you're asking me is to call the Liquor Control Authority and ask them how they enforce that?
No, I'm not asking you to do that. I'm just asking you who has priority. No, I don't want you to call the liquor authority.
Oh,
But
okay.
I just want it on record that, if you are going to continue and encourage outdoor dining, that you just have to keep that in mind.
Well, I think by using the note as an example this evening, I'm keeping that in mind.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I think the commission is always sensitive to the neighboring properties, because the community is all of the community, not just one
Right.
district. And I think we all believe that.
Well,
Beth, is there a problem approaching the note and just saying that there has been some feedback that when they do have music, can they dial back the bass? Because that's
Yeah.
the biggest problem. I have that right here at the park. And I just walk over and ask them to dial back the bass because, and BJ, you can't say this. Parks and Rec has said to me, if they don't do it, the next call is to the police and the police will shut them down.
Yeah.
That's not feedback for the note.
I don't know if
But
that's.
I don't know why we couldn't ask them with music, just dial back the bass.
When I've received complaints about the note before, I have spoken to them about the music. And I'm sorry, I brought it up because it is a good example of
It's a
times
perfect
when
example.
you should not rely on the zoning department to issue permits for outdoor dining when they're near residential zones, that the commission should have some overview of and some authority over some of the hours of operation and things of that nature.
Right.
As far as the music, I can call Tony and ask him to dial it back.
Beth?
Yeah,
Wouldn't it be simpler just to have them do only acoustic and no electronics?
Originally, that's what they had talked about.
But
So
that's
sorry,
taken
I'm sorry I used the note as an example.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. Yeah, and go.
Yeah, the tricky thing is that like we have all we have to stand on is the noise regulation, which is maybe exists, maybe it doesn't exist. So the liquor license dictates, but the enforcement doesn't sit with us. So I don't know, slippery slope. I'm sure you can ask all the questions you want, but I think Tony would probably say like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Will the state come in and monitor it? No,
I doubt it.
no, I don't think so.
It's a very simple thing. I'll ask him to dial it back.
Hey, David, I got to switch to my mobile for a hot second. Apparently my kid is stuck downtown and it's going to rain. So I'm jumping on my phone. So I'll come back in a second, guys. Sorry.
Okay.
You got it,
Apologies.
Rich.
Apologies. Be right back.
BJ did bring up a good point, and there we go. It's a good example. And so I hope that you all will agree that you do still want some oversight in those
Yes.
particular instances where commercial is close to a single family residential.
Okay,
Exactly.
very good idea.
I think that the commission would also be in agreement to issue outdoor dining permits administratively
Yes.
Yes,
to make the
absolutely.
need for a public hearing.
Yeah, I mean, most of the people you'd have them are people who already have them already. And we see what's happened. And I think everything's been a boon to downtown Bethel. I think it's great.
And they'd be renewed, they'd have to do it every year.
Every year. Mm-hmm.
When they did the COVID permits, they had to do a little site plan and give us a drawing, show us
Right.
where barriers are, things like that. How
Right.
many tables, umbrellas, tents. If they're using a tent, they've got to get a building permit for the tent. They also
Right.
have to have the tent approved by the fire marshal for fire retardant and things to that issue. That
Like if
nature.
there are significant changes to the plan they've given you, then they have to come back.
It's
yeah.
renewable every year.
It's renewal.
Because we do,
So Beth, are we
they
gonna
tend
leave
to
it
tweak it.
renewable as we did, allowing them to take up parking spaces?
There's been no issue with the parking
Excellent.
spaces.
No,
that
but
they've
I think
taken
it's
up.
worked out beautifully for
No
all
one's
of the
complaining.
restaurants.
I've had no complaints.
has.
And I did think I would get some, but no complaint.
Good, that's
Right.
excellent.
Everybody's playing well together, as John Lennon would say.
Perfect.
Okay,
On a restaurant.
so that takes care of parking, accessory dwelling units.
You had that map of that site plan with that rear lot.
That was a very simple request.
That's
Let me
Katrina
see.
Circle. I can pull that up on my
Can
computer.
you pull that up faster? Yeah, would you do? It's a
Yeah,
very
I'm on it.
simple.
I missed that.
Katrina Circle is called a cluster subdivision, for those of you that aren't familiar with it, because it's been years since we've had one. A cluster subdivision means they try their best to limit the amount of development in a smaller area by in creating a large open space area. In the cluster subdivisions, the lot configurations sometimes are crazy, in particular like this one. You notice that the house is all the way to the rear of the lot. And there's a septic and a well up there. He wants to get a shed. a 14 by 14 shed. This is considered where David is pointing his front yard. The regulation says you can't have sheds in your front yard unless the Planning and Zoning Commission says yes.
Okay.
That's the basic, I mean, that's the basics of the regulation. So that's
Isn't,
all it is. guys.
isn't basically the regulation is there as a visual thing of you don't want sheds in front of the picture window.
I know, but if this guy wants to look at a shed from this picture window,
No,
I
I
think
do
the
it.
spirit, I think the spirit of the regulation.
Figure a
I
lot.
think- Yeah, I think the spirit of the regulation was, we don't want people things in a typical front yard on
Right.
Benedict Road.
Right.
His front yard is not the typical view of a front
That's
yard
what I-
from the street.
Yeah,
No, not at all.
and what's located in front of him is open space. There is
Oh,
another
that's
house
even
there.
better. That's not even somebody's backyard. Good.
No,
It looks like he's tucking it in the corner where you won't be able to even see it down his driveway.
That's true.
I guess,
Very true.
I don't know. Do you want me to ask Chuck? If Chuck wanted to put something in my front yard and I said no,
You have the typical front yard, that's why.
All right, let's let him put the shed there.
I think,
Yes.
I think so too.
I'm okay with that.
sure.
okay, so the shed's all set?
Yes,
That's good.
Okay, so, that's all I have for you this evening. You do have a public hearing on the next meeting, it's
Oh,
August
that's when it is.
10th, I
Right.
think. Don't quote me on the meeting date. And that's on, Capilla's, Michael's at the Grove being converted to a church. Can I make a suggestion to y'all? Is at
Yes.
some point before the public hearing, take a ride over there, check out the parking lot and check out the exterior of the facilities. I mean, if you're not familiar with it.
right.
The minutes have 8/10/21.
Yeah,
Okay, that
8/10.
sounds right.
The 10th of August, yeah.
And that's all I have tonight, Pat.
Okay, thank you, Beth. All right, moving on. Any commission member comments?
I think we're good. I'm good.
Bob,
Fine.
Good.
Rob Wallace,
All good here?
Ken,
Excuse me, all good here.
Dawn.
I have nothing to say.
Oh my
Finally.
God.
Linda,
Woohoo! I second John's motion.
um, Rob Stoll.
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, I just have one comment, and I had already let Beth know about this. The liquor store on P.T. Barnum Square, I believe it's 23 P.T. Barnum Square. I was called by Kinnear Architects. They're now working with the owner, and they're going to restore the building. And they
Oh.
called me because we had photographs at the Historical Society,
Hmm.
because he wants to take it back to what it looked like in the very beginning of its life. And I spoke to him a couple days ago, and I spoke to him tonight. So he's starting to put some plans together for the owner.
It's great.
They're gonna make bigger billboards, or they're gonna keep them the same size?
Well, the apartments have been vacant. So maybe they're gonna have the apartments, fix the apartments back up.
Yeah, the apartments are,
Not only the frontage, but the back of the building,
All right.
the inside of the building.
Oh, yeah.
the apartments are empty because that's residential and it's commercial on the bottom, and you have to have a sprinkler system or a fire suppression system to be able to have mixed use in that building. That's why the apartments are empty on the second and third floor.
Why are the windows open all the
Forward
time,
into
John?
something quite nice.
Somebody like, the cat's like fresh air, I guess.
I think you're right. Now, everybody noticed the little house, the little antique house,
Yeah.
the cleaning that's been going on around there.
Yes, very nice.
That's great.
Doesn't it look nice?
Very
Right.
nice.
I have something, Beth. This is not going to be a hot subject because I don't want it to be. But that house that fell apart on your road, where are we at with getting the rest of that down?
Okay,
I want the
Oh,
Reader's
yes, right.
Digest. I don't want down and dirty. I just want
okay,
it.
first of all, no, it's
The
coming
nursery
down in
school.
30.
Gingerbread house, yes.
First of all, The zoning department is not getting involved with this in
Right.
any way whatsoever.
Good.
Okay,
We issued a permit for them to rehabilitate that place and make it a single-family home.
Reconstruction essentially.
Right, exactly. Now, because they put a rope around the building and pulled it down with whatever they pulled it
A
down
lasso,
with,
a lasso, yeah.
a lasso,
Yeah.
now it sits there. And it's under the jurisdiction of the building official and the health department. And the last I heard was they were trying to get a demo permit. Because they didn't apply for, they didn't apply for a demolition permit. They applied for a building permit to build a single family home or do a single family renovation or whatever. So now that it's a demo, it's demoed and it's sitting there,
yeah, that's great.
they were applying for a demolition permit, and that entails trying to find someone with a demolition license. And that's all I got.
Okay, cool.
Did they really think they were gonna pull the house down themselves? That was their plan?
Well, they did.
that's-
They did good.
I
They
know
did.
they did. What were they thinking?
Push down.
They pulled the house down.
Not to go deep in the weeds, Beth, but what really made me interested, I always, during these applications and we get polluted and dirty properties, and I always hear the health department say, you can't reside in there 24 hours a day. I was just wondering how the mechanics of that worked, where that now is, has the ability to be a residential unit. Do you have any input on that?
I would say that there was some concerns.
Yeah.
People have been calling, we're getting complaints and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, I'm
I
sure.
have to tell you, that was a nursery school for 25 years.
Oh, God, yes.
Well, right, but
The
the key
gingerbread
So,
house.
I mean, if we're concerned about contaminants and concerned about all these other things, asbestos and all that other stuff, I mean, don't you think that would have been resolved? And I'm sure it was resolved before the nursery school ever went in there.
Okay, you
They
think
painted
it's
new
clean?
furniture
Okay,
and
good.
finishing there.
Because I don't remember it being clean, but that's not what because I remember when we approved 286 Greenwood Avenue across from Burger King, I remember clearly them talking about that it couldn't be mixed use because the state wouldn't allow you to stay there
Right.
24 hours a day, but
Right.
they would allow a nursery school. And I always thought that was terrible, that we could let the kids be in there 8 hours, but not 24 hours.
Right.
You know?
I am not aware of the state having anything to say in regards to this piece of property.
Gotcha. Just more of a curiosity, not a
Yeah.
planning and zoning. Thank you.
What I heard was the contamination is in the soil over there more than it is in the building itself.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's on the property, but you could still make access to it because you're living there all the day, so good. So Beth, only because you drive by every day, I thought for sure you had a special interest in the property. Thank you.
No, my husband does.
Yeah. Well,
I wear
listen,
blinders. He gives me full reports every
yeah,
day.
see if Chuck could use that plywood before it all goes bad, okay?
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Could have used some of that trim.
Yeah, that was one heck of a cover if they bought building materials and then with the whole plan, they were gonna knock it down and act like it was an accident. It was wonderful the way they did it.
Should have waited for the delivery.
Nicely
Right.
executed. Yeah.
Should have paid for the round trip delivery.
All
Thank you.
right, guys. We got thunder and lightning up here. Can we start wrapping it up?
Motion to adjourn.
Well, no, we got public comment.
Oh, sorry. I forgot.
Is
I've
Pat-
got nothing.
Yeah, I had one more random question for Beth. Nobody else has to stay, though. It's not on the record.
No, it's all right. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask about, it was one more building related question. The house on the corner by the police station, did we already talk about this? Anybody ask questions about that?
Which
I
one?
drive by it every day. So while we're on the topic of driving by random structures.
The general store?
No, the little
up.
brown house that caught fire and now somebody bought it. On the corner of the police station, the new police station.
And the soccer field's
Oh, the
behind.
new police
Oh,
station,
yeah.
okay.
The new police station, there's a little brown house right next to the entrance on the same side that just appears to be building additions to the house
I was
on
gonna say, they
concrete,
just put an addition on it.
on concrete blocks, but like it doesn't appear to be even remotely a code. I know that's not our
Oh, so
Or
now all of a
James?
sudden you're a building inspector. Richard.
no, I'm just curious. It looks like it's just wrapped in house wrap, and I was like, oh man, that's probably not okay.
Looking a little shady back there.
The building department is aware of it and trying to work with the property owner.
Okay, just curious. Just curious.
I don't get involved with the
No,
saran
no.
wrap and the,
It was more because I
duct
missed,
tape
I
and all
missed
that
so much
stuff.
time that I was like, maybe we talked about it.
yeah, no, we did.
Pull the treehouse and you.
Richie's looking for investment properties. He
Yeah,
thought, check
yeah.
a permit.
Can I Airbnb that dollhouse?
Oh,
Beth,
God.
do you happen to know when the new business is coming into O'Neill's spot?
No,
Okay.
I
Oh.
haven't heard. David, do you know anything about that?
I do not.
No.
I'd be just as curious as Pat is.
Oh, but I do have, all right, we're gonna, promise me that we're gonna end this after I get done with the next story.
Okay.
2 minutes.
I like
Okay.
story.
Oh,
So,
sorry.
we have a lobster pond, it's called, coming into the industrial park.
Who said the what now?
It's
Really?
they call it a lobster pond. We have a Maine lobster conglomerate. He has 25 boats. And he's gonna start wholesaling, he's gonna build a lobster pond over in the industrial park and start wholesaling lobsters out of there and oysters and day scallops,
Wow.
clam,
Oh, wow.
and
Tell him-
mussels.
I will
I've got to know him right away.
I will
And he will-
negotiate, Kitty.
And he will, he's gonna have a little tiny square footage available once he gets established and started with a very small retail component. And you'll
Oh.
see that as soon as he's finished with his plans.
Here.
But he's
So
my
that's
new-
in Clark Park?
Yeah.
Yeah, over in Clark Park.
In,
He's my new
in,
best friend.
it's
fact,
in
he's
an
the only
existing
friend.
building.
Huh?
We'll go together, Beth.
Is it like a tank, like an aquarium?
Yeah, doing like the tanks.
Indoors?
No, he's
At home.
wholesaling, Richie. He's wholesaling it. He's
No, I
wholesaling
know.
the pond,
Indoor.
but it's just tanks that he's keeping the lobsters live to ship them out tomorrow.
Oh, he's not breeding them.
No,
Dumping
No,
them.
no. He's catching them and he's holding them.
what happened? Did you all turn into city folk or something?
I've never heard of this as a business. in my
It
life.
could be an aquaculture thing, that's
Come on.
that's in now.
He
Yeah.
goes out on his boats.
Yeah.
They go, now they have to go pretty far out now because of
Yeah.
nobody believes in the climate change, but it's happening up there.
Yeah.
And they have to go farther out. It's a 5-hour trip. Brings them in, loads them up. They'll be down here, I would say within 12 hours of being caught.
Wow.
And I'm probably wrong, but he'll explain it to you because it's gonna have to come to you to get the retail side.
Oh, let's do it live so we can all meet him.
But I assume he's doing it because he's getting a good deal and he's close to the city. And they're just really nice people.
Nice.
So Linda, to answer your question, if they're small, he'll let them grow.
Okay,
7
glad to
years.
hear that.
It takes 7 years to get him to a good age.
Yeah.
But anyways, no, so
Wow.
he catches them, brings them down and puts them in, they call it a lobster pond. It's a tank. You know,
Open
it's
release.
it's a big tank, believe me. All different sizes, all different types, but everything will be kept alive and fresh.
So
Wow.
no retail, purely wholesale.
No,
No,
no retail. We're gonna look at
Good
it.
job.
Little
He's gonna
retail.
do a little bit of retail. I
Little bit,
talked to
okay.
him and I said, you gotta do retail or else we're not gonna allow it.
Seriously.
Especially the last weekend in July.
Bethel gets put on the map for lobster rolls, finally.
Yes, yes.
Beth, did you want to give any update that you might have on the expansion of Clark Park?
No,
Yeah.
Okay,
I wanna end it on my lobster tail.
Yeah.
sounds good.
And the expansion is unaffordable, so we're not gonna do it.
I don't even wanna go there.
Right.
Let's not talk about it. It makes me sick.
I wanna end on my lobster tail.
That
Lobster-
sounds
I
good.
like
All right,
that.
if I may have a motion, please?
No,
Motion to
intended.
adjourn.
Who's my
Second.
Third.
10th.
No, who seconded that?
It was me or Rob.
Several.
Either or.
Give it to Rob.
Hey, before we go, Richie, happy Thanksgiving if I don't see you.
No. Lacrosse is a spring sport. I'm around in the winter.
Be-
All right.
Before we go, can I just say, there's somebody here, his name is Paul Shanley, and from what I
Yes.
understand,
Oh, yeah.
Paul's running as a candidate for the Planning and Zoning Commission. And if there is any other candidates here, I apologize, but I appreciate seeing candidates running, no matter what party you are. to attend meetings prior to the election. It means a lot to me. And
your feet
I
wet.
appreciate your attendance tonight, even though it was the comedy show.
Yeah, and Mr.
We're good, we're
Mr.
good.
Shanley is obviously a lifelong resident of Bethel, and he's gonna take my seat. And when I'm not on, you can tell him it's big shoes to fill.
I've seen your shoes.
They're big.
One's bigger than the other.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
You're absolutely right.
John, you'll be back. We'll believe it when we see it. Somebody else is here.
Okay, all those in favor of adjourning? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention? We are adjourned. Thank you,
Good night,
everyone.
everyone.
Good night.
Thanks all.